Why did that turn off? I'm almost ready, ladies and gentlemen. Just enjoy the floating, bouncing head like your old desktop screen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the rebirth of Dale Center. As you see behind me, it truly is the Dale Center. This is the most comprehensive NASCAR, actually, trying to say motorsports. I'm going to cover more than just NASCAR. Unfortunately, SRX is non-existent except for Caesar Sportsbook. We'll talk about that later. But this is the most comprehensive betting analysis for motorsports in the history of the universe. I am Dale Tanhart, the greatest NASCAR bettor in the universe, up 66.5 units on NASCAR betting in 2022. It's been a great start, and it's about to get even better. So let's jump right into it. So I'm looking at the comments right here. You guys feel free, chime in. Welcome. Good to see some people here this morning. It's morning for me, but I guess it's 11 a.m. for a lot of other people on the East Coast. But I'm on Central Time, coming to you live from the heart of America. If you tune in late, anytime you have to tune out because you're at work, you can tune back in to the recorded broadcast. It should be on YouTube, and it should still be on Twitter via Dale Tanhart. So this weekend, we're going to start with NASCAR. All we have this weekend is NASCAR and SRX. We'll kind of dive into SRX a little bit later, but the focus here is NASCAR at Nashville. Nashville was fucking horrendous to me last year. For any of the garage fans that followed along last year, 401k sticker. I love that, Jack. We're gonna make them happen eventually. We got to make it stick. No pun intended. So Nashville was very ugly to us last year. For any of the OG garage fam that remembers, so it is time to make a massive rebound. I think last year I lost like 13 units combined on all the races. Honestly, I think it was more than that. I lost trucks, I lost Xfinity, and I lost bad on Cup. Did not expect, and I should have, but Kyle Larson back in the day was plus 300 every fucking race. Like, who's going to bet on that? Not me. So, speaking of Kyle Larson, let's get the odds on the board. We're going to start with the NASCAR Cup Series, the Ally 400. Let's look at some odds. Starting out, these odds that you see at the bottom of the screen are via Barstool Sportsbook, just because I like some value better than what I see on DraftKings or any other book on the market. And the number one kicker there is DraftKings has Kyle Larson at plus 450. Like, that's fucking crazy. Like, with all due respect to Kyle Larson, hell of a driver, defending champion, friend of the show, friend of the Garage Guys show. We played cornhole together before, had a couple interviews, had a good time. But Kyle Larson has only won one race this year in 18 races, 17 races if you include the Clash and the All-Star race. I get he dominated this race last year, but 2021 is not the best use of data when predicting races in 2022. It's just not, because the cars are totally different. This is a totally new generation. The Gen 7 has flipped everything upside down. There's no reason Kyle Larson should be plus 450 on DraftKings Sportsbook. I mean, I hopefully you guys agree. I don't know, but I think that's fucking crazy. I don't think anybody's going to bet that. So via Barstool Sportsbook, as you're seeing the lines come up, he's at plus 600, which is way more reasonable. I still think is too expensive considering the performance of Kyle Larson this year. Think about how many times he's been in contention to win. So Fontana didn't have the best car, but he did take advantage of mistakes from William Byron, Tyler Reddick, who were way faster. Took advantage of a late race restart, was going up against guys like Daniel Suarez, Eric Jones, guys that really haven't closed yet, at least at this point. I know Eric Jones won some races with Joe Gibbs, but totally different animal driving for Richard Petty Motorsports. Daniel Suarez hadn't closed yet. He passed him, I think, with 2 to go to win that one. So you look at Fontana. We'll count Sonoma last week. You probably should have won Sonoma if Cliff Daniels, shockingly, didn't have terrible strategy, probably would have won Sonoma, which is totally different than Nashville. So that's 2 races. And then I'd throw Charlotte in there because Charlotte, he was leading with 2 to go before Chase Briscoe spun out. Also, totally different racetrack than what we're going to expect this weekend at Nashville. So I'm not going to be betting Kyle Larson. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that. I don't care what happens in practice. Don't care what happens in qualifying. I might eat my words. We'll see. The value's not there. He should not be the favorite when he really hasn't done enough in 2022. So moving on, guys I've got my eyes on, Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain directly behind him. Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain have arguably been the most consistent guys in the Cup Series at a plethora of different styles of racetracks. Kyle Busch has performed well everywhere except for super speedways and road courses. So that is the meat of the schedule when you look at mile and a half, you look at short tracks. Even at the short tracks where he struggled, like Richmond, Martinsville, still got top 10s out of those races. So when you look at Kyle Busch as of recently, he's been on fire when you exclude what happened at Sonoma. Like I said, the performance on road courses for Kyle Busch has not been great, but everywhere else has. So Kyle Busch plus 800, probably going to come back to that later when I go over my picks. Ross Chastain plus 850. Also might come back to that later. But when you look at Ross Chastain, he's just been excellent everywhere, including the super speedways, including the short tracks, including the road courses, obviously. Trackhouse Racing has dominated the road courses. No question about it. So probably going to come back to that one. Keep going down the board. Chase Elliott plus 900. Ryan Blaney plus 1,000. Denny Hamlin plus 1,100. William Byron, who's been on quite the struggle bus, plus 1,200. And at the same price as William Byron, via Barstool Sportsbook, Joey Logano, who is hotter than any driver in the field right now. If you include the Clash, has 3 wins on the season. I always will include the preliminary races because I think they do matter when it comes to momentum. I think they matter when it comes to track style. And when it comes to flat racetracks, Joey Logano has been excellent. Look at Gateway, won a couple weeks ago, had one of the best cars there. Look at Richmond, should have run top 5, but had a pit road penalty on the final pit stop, relegated him to 17th. He couldn't pass there, so penalty late in that race just fucking killed him. Martinsville finished 2nd, another flat racetrack. I know it's very different than Nashville, a lot of different dynamics going on between the 2 racetracks. But when it comes to flat racetracks, Joey Logano has been really, really good. And this is a very flat racetrack. It's a 1.33 mile concrete surface racetrack, only the second, 2 of 2 on concrete racetracks, Nashville and Dover. And I don't think this is going to race at all like Dover. The track is totally different. The banking is totally different. Nashville, we're talking about 14-degree banking in the turns. For reference to how flat that is the same banking as Fontana. You know how flat Fontana Auto Club Speedway is. I know they race totally different, 2 different surfaces, but it gives you an idea of how flat that racetrack is, talking about Nashville. So moving on, Martin Truex Jr., complete bum, plus 1,300. Just going to cross him out. Get out of here. Nope. Christopher Bell plus 1,600 has had the best average finish out of all drivers in Cup Series over the past 6 races. Christopher Bell has been really good and has saved my 401k multiple times, whether it's been top 5 play, top 3 play, matchup, or winning the poll. Christopher Bell has been really, really good when it comes to the bets. Alex Bowman, same price, plus 1,600. Tyler Reddick, plus 1,600. Briscoe, Kurt Busch in the 22 to 2,500 range. Quick note about Chase Briscoe. These odds via Barstool Sportsbook. I checked this morning. Chase Briscoe is plus 3,000 to win on DraftKings. So important note right there. There are going to be some discrepancies here. I think Barstool has more favorable odds overall, especially on the top 3, the top 5 side. But I am going to point out some of those discrepancies. Like Chase Briscoe, he's 2,200 on Barstool Sportsbook to win. On DraftKings, he's plus 3,000. That's a pretty big discrepancy. And plus 800 for a top 3 on DraftKings. On Barstool, I think he's like plus 550, plus 600. Those are pretty large discrepancies for a guy that was really fast at Gateway. Another flat track. It's worth noting. So moving on. I'm not going to go through all these, but I've got my eye on Daniel Suarez. Love Dan Suarez. Love Dan Suarez after Sonoma. Last time out, got his first career win. It was fucking awesome. Brought a lot of bags for the Garage Fam. People made a lot of money. Seriously, if you're not in the Garage Guys Discord, go find a link in the bio on Twitter, on Instagram, or on YouTube. It might be in this description right now if you are watching on YouTube. Join the Discord. People made a shit ton of money. I think one guy cleared $20-something thousand. I'm like, no shit. It was unbelievable. So thanks to Dan Suarez for that one. Keeping my eye on him at plus 3,000. That's also his odds to win the pole. They've qualified super well, and they've got Tootsie's on the car. Tootsie's is a famous bar in Nashville. I will probably make a stop there this weekend. By the way, I told you I'm coming to you live from the heart of America. Me and Garage Guy Chase are inbound to Nashville right after this is finished. And you still can be expecting the Garage Guys betting preview over on YouTube to drop tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening sometime. So be on the lookout for that as well. More betting analysis on the way. Eric Almirola. Heard a lot of chatter about Eric Almirola, the flat track king, as they may say. Flat tracks have been great to Eric Almirola. Probably going to be talking about him more later, especially on the qualifying side. He qualified super well here last year. So keep an eye on Eric Almirola. Won at New Hampshire last year, ran top 5 at Gateway just a couple weeks ago. Eric Almirola truly is, I don't know how it happened, but he truly is one of the flat track kings. It literally came out of nowhere. I don't even know how the fuck that happened, because used to he only ran well on super speedways. Now, since he joined Stuart Haas, took over for Danica Patrick, flat track master. So those are the guys I've got my eyes on so far. The final guy I'm looking at is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Talk about a lot of chatter for Almirola. There has been a ridiculous amount of chatter on Ricky Stenhouse Jr. This is now his home track, Mississippi boy, from the heart of America, Ricky Stenhouse. Ole Miss Rebel fan too. Ole Miss Rebels play today to solidify a potential spot in the College World Series National Championship. So I guess that's what they call it. Baseball. We all know baseball is not really a sport. So Ricky Stenhouse has had a lot of talk about him, a lot of talk this week, and he opened, I think, at plus 8,000 on DraftKings. Everybody in the chat, let me know if that's correct. I need to pull up my Twitter chat because I don't think I can see it. So let's see. Get this pulled up. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., I believe, opened at plus 8,000. And you can tell the chatter is real because via Barstool Sportsbook, he is down to plus 5,000. Guy that was super, super fast here last year. Got the Twitter chat open now. Make sure. Bear with me. Boom. Got the chat. Let's go. So, yeah, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is a guy that was so fast here last year and has a lot of collective momentum over the past few weeks, excluding Sonoma. He's not a road course guy, but when you look at places like Dover, Darlington, Charlotte, ran super well, has increased his spot in the standings from like 30th to 24th. I mean, that's a big jump for a team that struggled mightily early in the season. So my problem with this, I think this is a real thing, talking about Juju, is betting Juju. If anyone that knows me and Chase knows we are very superstitious on the bets. I have a problem here because it seems like, and this isn't just NASCAR, this is all sports. When everybody hammers the same bet or the same guy, something bad happens. And it seems to me, from what I've seen on Twitter and our Discord, everybody is fucking hammering Ricky Stenhouse Jr. That makes me kind of hesitant on it. There's just juju around that kind of thing. 2 examples. Number 1, everybody was hammering Martin Truex Jr. to win the championship last year at Phoenix. Everybody. And that actually kind of turned me off to it. And I said, you know what? I'm putting the house on Larson. Got a little bit lucky. He wasn't the best, but his pit crew was the best. They took advantage of a very opportunistic caution late in that race and won me the bet. And everybody who had Truex fucking lost. And that's part of the juju. Like, I'm a big stats nerd, as you can tell, anybody that knows me and anybody that will watch this and listen to everything I say. But there is a very superstitious part in all this. When everybody bets the same guy, they will fucking lose. I'm telling you. I can't think of a time where everybody just hammered one guy, unless it was trucks from my picks, and everybody won. It just doesn't fucking happen. Another good example, I knew from fucking December of last year that I was going to bet on Ryan Blaney to win the Daytona 500. And when it came that weekend, everybody was betting on Ryan Blaney. And I already fucking knew I lost. I knew we had all lost. Like, I walk up to HQ Spider and the Barcel guys and Chase was on Blaney. We're all talking about how Blaney is the guy. And I remember telling Chase, I was like, we're fucked because everybody's betting on Blaney. That's how I'm feeling about Ricky. Everybody is going to be hammering Ricky. So I'm a little hesitant right there, even though I'm always rooting for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. to do well. And I think he probably will, based on what we've seen over the past 5 to 6 weeks and what we saw here last year. Huge confidence boost, and it's his home track. So statistically, with the narrative, everything kind of is falling in line for Ricky to have another good run. But everybody's going to fucking hammer it. So I don't think I will. So moving on, we're going to come back to Cup when we give out our picks. Yes, the Discord is free. The Discord is free always. And like I said, I think last week or 2 weeks ago at Sonoma, we accrued a combined like 40 grand net. I mean, between everybody that bet on Dan Suarez. I mean, seriously, if you were not in the Discord, you're missing out. So, moving on. Let's go to the Xfinity Series. These odds via DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm not going to go through everybody. Between all three national series, these odds are definitely the shittiest. They are not very tasty. Taste like poop. Noah Gragson is the favorite, which is honestly shocking to me considering his results over the past couple months. He really hasn't been the best guy in a junior motorsport. I would say even – sorry, hold on. Boom. Hey, no, we don't say that about Ricky. Beard Grills, nice name. But no, Ricky's the man. We love Ricky. So, Xfinity Series, I'm surprised Noah Gragson's the favorite here because he hasn't been the best out of his whole fleet. He hasn't won a race in a couple months and did not perform super well here last year. Josh Berry should be the favorite with how he's run on the intermediate racetracks, how he's run recently. He's won 2 races this year. Shout out to Josh Berry. You're going to see a lot of him later on the wall of Dale, when we draft our team. Josh Berry has been phenomenal this season. He comes up next at plus 500, and obviously I've got my eye on him. Overcame a speeding penalty in this race last year with Junior Motorsports to finish 4th. Had a better car than that. Probably could have run top 3. Possibly could have won that race. But another guy I've got my eye on, even though he is dead to me. He is super, super dead to me. Nice guy. I like him. Justin Allgire has lost me a lot of money over the past couple of years. But he finished second here to Kyle Busch last year and was his only competition. And if you look at this stretch of the season, compare it to last year, he was so hot at this point of the season last year, and he's even hotter at this point of the season in 2022. Tracks like Texas, tracks like Dover, won at Darlington, has been so good. Could have won at Charlotte, has led a lot of laps. In fact, big stat guy here, in his last 5 races, Justin Allgaier has led 239 laps. That's got to be top 3 minimum in the series over the past 5 races. So I've got my eye on Justin Allgaier for sure. Ty Gibbs slots in next at plus 600. Another guy who's hungry, who hasn't won in a while. Has not won, I believe, since Richmond, which would have been a couple months ago. Ty Gibbs, number 54, has been a machine at the intermediate racetracks, whether it was him, Kyle Busch. Who else drove that car last year? Someone else drove that car and won. I don't know, maybe it was Truex or somebody. Ran well or something. But the 54 has been a machine at intermediate racetracks. Ty Gibbs has had a lot of bad luck, a.k.a. Jesse Iwuji taking him out at the road course. That was pretty cool. I'm not the biggest Ty guy. Ty has made himself a villain. We all know this. the babyface villain, Ty Gibbs, but he is a beast. I expect him to be in the mix. Moving on, Tyler Reddick comes back in the big machine number 48. That will be funded by Good Horsepower. Don't panic because he did win at Texas in the same ride just a few weeks ago. Trevor Bayne is back. Hometown race for him at plus 900. Sam Mayer at plus 1,000. I got my eye on him as well. Brandon Jones, 1,200. AJ Allmendinger, 1,200. Ryan Preece is an interesting one. Via DraftKings, he's at plus 1,500 in this race. I believe it was Caesars Sportsbook. If you have access to Caesars, he's plus 1,800 to win. So good value there on Ryan Preece. He's going to be in a good race car. This is a Stewart-Haas prepared race car. It's a Ford. Don't be scared of that number 5. I know it's fucking BJ McLeod or whatever, but he's got good funding behind him. They made a deal prior to the season that they were going to give him good race cars. I think he ran 5th at Charlotte a couple weeks ago. So go back to that race to give you a good vote of confidence for this one. And then really nothing else notable here on the Xfinity side. All these other guys are plus 30 to 1. Austin Hill's 30 to 1. Sheldon Creed, 40 to 1, who has a good race car, has just had terrible luck this year. Sheldon Creed's my boy. Congratulations, Sheldon and Cammie. I'm sure you won't see this, but if you do, congratulations on the baby. They named their baby Axel. Axel James Creed. Like, what a fucking badass name. Axel. They named their kid Axel. That's fucking awesome. I love it. Absolutely love it. So there's a quick run through on the Xfinity Series. Nick Merwin, desperate need of a sweep this weekend. We're going to show that one. That's what I'm here for. That's why I'm bringing back Dale Center to help you guys out on all 3 NASCAR National Series. And like I said, we'll talk a little bit SRX as well. Maybe I can give you a good foursome sweep right there. So appreciate that comment. Why is this not? Okay. This app that I'm using. Moving on, let's go to trucks. Trucks at Nashville, the Rackley Roofing 200 or 250, whatever. Trucks have been on a long run, have raced like 5 or 6 weeks in a row when everybody else had an off weekend last week and they were up in Iowa. Terrible fucking race, terrible officiating, terrible camera work, terrible production by Fox. It was a disaster. Please, God, go back to Eldora. I think I speak for Mitty when I say, please fucking go back to Eldora. I don't know. I don't care what it takes. I don't care if it means, begging Tony Stewart. We need to go back to Eldora, scrap that Knoxville race. I want to know you guys' thoughts on that too, because that race was a issue. I basically broke even on bets, and I could have won way more if NASCAR didn't penalize Brett Moffitt. Had him at 50, or not 50. Yeah, 50 to 1, plus 5,000. Brett Moffitt was in the lead by 2 seconds, and they fucking penalized. Like, what is that? What the fuck is that? I don't want to talk about it. Top 3 most mad I've ever been at a race before. So let's look at odds via DraftKings Sportsbook. John Hunter Nemechek plus 400. Not gonna bet that. At the end of the day, just have not seen enough. Like, I haven't seen enough of what John Hunter's been able to do on these intermediate style racetracks. He just hasn't done anything. He's won one race this year, which was at Darlington. Doesn't really compare to this racetrack. Plus 400 is just too much. That's just too expensive. Zane Smith is who I have my eye on. I'm looking at plus 500 right here. I think on Barstool, he is plus 550. I'd get it while you can. That's all I can say. I'd get it while you can because they qualify super well. They practice super well on the scoreboard, and they obviously race pretty well. So Zane Smith is the only full-time NASCAR craftsman. I just said craftsman. The only full-time NASCAR Camping World Truck Series driver who has won multiple races this season. He's won 3 times at 3 very different racetracks, and he's had a lot of speed on tracks similar to this. I think plus 550 is a worthy price. Ryan Preece is back in the number 17 that won last week with Todd Gilliland at Knoxville. Plus 700 for him. Chandler Smith plus 700. Moving on, I'm going to skip a few guys. Ben Rhodes, Friesen, Heim are in this. Corey Heim's had a good year back in the number 51. Keep an eye on him. Christian Eckes plus 1,000. I would not be surprised if some other books come out. Maybe Caesars, maybe PointsBet, maybe even FanDuel. I don't know if FanDuel has dropped odds yet. I haven't seen anything. I wouldn't be surprised if there's better value here. I think Christian Eckes is going to be a major factor Friday night. Tomorrow night, truck night in America. Gets the adrenaline flowing. Truck night in America.
greatest sport in the history of mankind. I'm keeping an eye on Christian Eckes. Carson Hocevar, of course. Just saw a comment that said, how do we get rid of the Hocevar curse? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It's a bummer because he's lost me a good bit of money this year, but it's just, let's see, Texas was his fault, but everything else has been bad luck. Texas was for sure his fault, even though he should have won. There should have been a caution, but there was. You know how that shit goes in NASCAR. Too many people had too much money on Hocevar, so NASCAR had to jump in, throw a caution. So you know how that goes. Hocevar is plus 1,500 via DraftKings Sportsbook. It's tough with Hocevar, man. I don't know what to expect out of him this weekend. He's a guy I'm going to wait on in practice and qualifying. I don't think the books are going to just jump him tremendously, regardless of what happens, because he's never won a race. Like last week, I think he closed at like plus 1,200, and he was clearly the fastest truck after practice, after qualifying with the heats. He looked unstoppable, and I still think he closed at 12-1. So we're going to wait on Hocevar, see what he does with practice and qualifying. And then Derek Kraus is the last guy I'm looking at here. I know for sure that Derek Kraus is better value than what I'm looking at. And what you're seeing on the screen is, why did that come off? Fucking ticker, whatever. That ticker is stupid. Derek Kraus is plus 3,000 via DraftKings Sportsbook. I think I've seen up to plus 4,000, 5,000, maybe plus 6,000 on some books. You guys chime in. Let me know what books you've seen him at. I know I've seen it. I just can't tell you what book it is. But I know there's enhanced value in Derek Kraus, who's another one of those guys like Christian Eckes, like Carson Hocevar, who's got very fast trucks every single week, and he's knocking on the door of that win, of that first win, that elusive first win. So keep an eye on Derek Kraus. Plus 3,000. Parker Kligerman's in this race. He also checks in at plus 3,000. Keep an eye on him as well. Like some top 5 action potentially out of him. Probably won't be talking about him later. But there you go. There's your Dale Center intro run through. Jack right there. Let me get that on the board. Bet US. Bet US plus 5,000 for Derek Kraus. Appreciate that. Keep an eye on that. That line will probably change because last year, if anybody remembers, Derek Kraus qualified on the pole, and they actually didn't change his line. His line still stayed at plus 5,000. I remember because me and all my degenerate alcoholic friends were all at the race, and we all bet on him. And, of course, he crashed. So keep an eye on Derek Kraus. Appreciate that, Jack. Moving on. So we had the intro, talk odds. By the way, how about the get up? For the first one, I had to wear a suit with a Dale Earnhardt shirt. I have the will to win. Everyone knows I'm the greatest fucking NASCAR bettor in the history of the universe. I have the will to win like Dale Earnhardt. Want to point out the facts. Let's do an ad plug real quick. If you guys are aware, if you follow the Garage Guys, if you don't follow the Garage Guys, PrizePicks is a new partner of the Garage Guys. Hold on. That ticker. Of course, the ticker. What is wrong with this ticker? Why do you not work? Why do you not work right? Boom. Right now, if you go download the PrizePicks app, you can probably find a link, a sign-up link in the link tree on the Garage Guys Twitter or the Garage Guys Instagram or in some of our YouTube videos. Download PrizePicks and sign up using promo code Garage Guys. PrizePicks is a proud partner of the Garage Guys. We're just breaking ground with this daily fantasy app. Actually, the easiest way to play daily fantasy, that is PrizePicks. If you sign up using promo code Garage Guys and deposit money, let's say you deposit $50 using promo code Garage Guys, PrizePicks will match you with $50 and you'll have $100 to play with. It's a fun game. You basically combine players or drivers from any sport, 2 to 5 drivers, 2 to 5 players, and you pick their over-unders, and you can win up to 10 times your entry fee. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy and a proud partner of the Garage Guys. It actually is a super fun app. It's not legal in Mississippi. I can't play it here, but when I am at the races, I always make lineups. I usually tweet about them too. So free money, deposit matching bonus. Look at that. 100% up to $100. So if you deposit $100, PrizePicks will deposit $100. And you'll have $200 to play with. Promo code Garage Guy. Simple, easy. That's what PrizePicks is all about. Very fun game. Highly, highly recommend it. So let's get that off the board. Boom. Get the ticker. The ticker has been has been my kryptonite here with this app. Okay. Now, it is time to draft the Wall of Dale. As you see behind me, we've got all these little columns just to the right of Chase Elliott. Shout out to Hooters as well. Underneath Dale Jr., underneath Dale Sr. I'm mirrored, so I'm kind of fucked up here. But look, the Wall of Dale, it is time to draft. So, pull the chair out. Let me show you what everything is. All drivers from the 3 NASCAR National Series will be characterized based on how much money they have won or lost me over the course of 2022. There is some bias. There is some bias heading back to 2021 with some drivers, and I'm sure there's plenty of you guys and girls that can resonate with me on a lot of these drivers that have fucking sucked when it comes to betting since 2021. Hell, maybe even further than that. So, I'm going to start with the good one right here. For the drivers, this is an elite list of drivers that have won me the most money, the most reliable in 2022. This is the Dale 401k Series Grand National Champions. Get that back up there. That's the first one we'll start with when we start picking drivers. This next one, I know it's kind of hard to see this glare. Probably should have picked better colors. These are the drivers that are doing it for Dale. These are drivers that are on the cusp of being a 401k Grand National Champion, but they're not there yet. But they're doing good. A lot of drivers fall in this category. This one, this is the Sports God of the Week. Every week, there will be an athlete, random athlete that I will choose as the Sports God of the Week. Don't ask about the criteria. Criteria is whatever the fuck I want it to be. Sports God of the Week. Next up, these are the drivers that are dead to Dale. And I'm sure you can assume what that means. I talk about this all the time in the Discord. If you lose me money consistently, you're dead to me. You're very, very dead to me. You're dead to Dale. Boom. Dead to Dale. That's the next one. And finally, this is the worst possible thing you could be. This is the Dale 401k Theft Champions. These are the drivers that steal more money from me on the betting side than any driver in the universe. Simple. Very, very simple. So, without further ado, I'm gonna have to get some more tape for that. I'm gonna have to get some more tape. 1 second, I got the tape on deck right here. We're drafting the Wall of Dale before we get our picks out. And that piece is dry. What are we doing, Scotch tape? Get this shit together. You got fucking posters and shit to put up. The Dale 401k Theft Champion. All right. Starting out, let's start with the good. God damn it. Let's start with the good. We'll come back to that later. So, the Dale 401k Series Grand National Champions, like I said, is an elite list of drivers who have won me more money and have been rock solid on bets this season. Starting out, Josh Berry. When betting on Josh Berry, I am 4 for 8 and plus 15.3 units in the Xfinity Series. Josh Berry has been fantastic. Let me know if you can still hear me. Just think through the tape part here, but Josh Berry is the first driver to be selected in the 401k Series Grand National Champions list. Now, I see somebody has a prediction. I'm going to wait on that. If you're a follower of Garage Guys, longtime follower, you're going to love this guy. The only problem I have with this guy is that he called me Morgan Wallen on Twitter. I had the mullet before Morgan Wallen. I don't even listen to country music, but that's a good thing if that's the only problem I have. Zane Smith, the Zane train, plus 14.85 units when betting. Also a 50% rate win. 4 for 8 when betting on Zane Smith. You can bet. I will probably bet on Zane again this weekend. Now, this one's controversial because I genuinely don't really like this guy, and I don't think a lot of people do, but son of a gun, I love when he wins me money. This is the third member of the 401k Grand National Champions list. Joey Logano. Joey Logano has been incredible to my bank account. Plus 12.37 units on the season. He has saved me at the Busch Clash and just a couple weeks ago at Gateway. He is a flat track master in 2022. I got ripped off by this Scotch tape. It does not work. We're going to have to find a better system going forward. That's okay. First episode. We will find a better system. My poor roommate has a fucking headache. Called him to work. And I know I'm just adding to the pain of his headache. But it's okay. We're moving on now. So I think I have one more driver for the 401k Grand National Champions list. It is no other than Truck God II. Once again, if you're a Garage Fam follower, Truck God II. Any guesses there? We know Sheldon Creed is the OG Truck God, but he has moved on. The final member of this very elite list, the 401k Grand National Champions, Chandler Smith, plus 13.65 units. I feel like I haven't bet on Chandler in a minute. Probably should get back on that. But Chandler Smith, when I have bet on him, has been fantastic. Just to get you the exact stats. This one is really good because I have bet on Chandler Smith 4 times this year, and 3 of the bets have hit. 75% win rate on Chandler Smith. Gotta love that. Moving on. Moving on to doing it for Dale. This, like I said, is a category of drivers who have done well, and they're on the cusp of the 401k hero list. This is a driver that has done well for me in 2022. Noah Gragson. Noah Gragson with the mullet. He's been quiet recently. We did talk about him. And that's why he's in this list and not this one, because he has been kind of quiet. You fucker. You know what? Scotch tape is just awful. This tape is just awful. But it's all I have. It's like Zane Smith last year. He said, I have nothing. I have nothing. All right, maybe that will stay. So, Noah Gragson on the Doing It for Dale list to start us off. Next up, we got to speed this up. This guy, surprisingly, I don't think he's won a lot of people money, but he has won me money combined from Xfinity and Cup. He dropped down the Xfinity Series, won a race. I did pick him, and he's gotten several top 3s for me on the season, a few top 5s, and a couple matchups. That is the Red Dog. Between Cup and Xfinity, I don't know why his picture is vertical and everybody else is horizontal, but Tyler Reddick, between the 2 series, plus 11.8 units. The Red Dog has been pretty clutch for the Garage Fan when it comes to doing everything except winning a Cup race. That's the next step. The guy needs to win a Cup race. We all know what happened to Bristol Dirt. Absolute heartbreak. Hopefully nothing like that will ever happen to us again. But for now, the Red Dog has won us some money in 2022. Next on the list, my man, this guy recently won the Garage Fam a shit ton of money, as I stated earlier. Dan Suarez. Welcome. Dan Suarez is doing it for Dale, or as Pitbull and Trackhouse say, Dale. Next up, doing it for Dale is a guy that I've only bet on like 5 times this year, but all it took was one. All it took was one time for this guy to bring home a fucking shit ton of money. Chase Briscoe. At Phoenix, I picked, for anyone new here, biggest pick of my life, actually. I picked James Briscoe to win at Phoenix at plus $5.
plus 16.4 units just from that win.
It's all falling apart. Tons of bitches. I think I got 2 more over here on the guys that are doing it for Dale. Picking up tape. Right. That's good stuff.
All right, 2 more guys. This guy has a famous nickname. Has won a lot of money for the Garage Fam in 2022. But he's been real quiet recently. Been real quiet recently. Nonetheless, in the few times I have bet on him, he has pulled through. Benjamin Bill, William Byron plus 11.39 units. He's just missing this one because he hasn't done anything in a minute. But he's close. He's very close.
Like the first fucking piece of tape I'm using that. What do we do? Mullet in this picture is dragging him down.
Gregson, get up here and stay. Please. And the final driver who's doing it for Dale, this guy hasn't won a race this year, but he's won me money through top 5s, top 3s, matchups, and pole positions. He is the babyface 27-year-old, I believe. He might be 26. But he's been a qualifying machine this year. Christopher Bell, plus 5.53 units. I know that number's not huge, but if it wasn't for C. Bell, I'd be fucking broke right now. Those weeks where I pushed or had minimal losses were because I hit a bet on Christopher Bell. Yeah. Boom. C. Bell rounds off the doing it for Dale list. We'll come back to the sports guide at the end of the show. Now, this is the painful part. This is the list of drivers that I just really fucking hate right now. They are dead to Dale. They have lost me a lot of money in 2022. Who's the first guess? Anybody got a guess? I'll start us off. This one's a shame because I actually really like betting on this guy. Really like betting on this driver. But he has burned me a lot. Ryan Blaney. When I bet on Ryan Blaney, minus 0.76 units in the season. He's killing me. Absolutely killing me. Every time Ryan Blaney, and this is like not disputable. Every time Ryan Blaney has the fastest car, he never fucking wins. He always wins the races that you never expect. There goes Joey. As I'm talking about Blaney, his fucking teammate. But Blaney never wins. He never wins when he has the fastest car. Ever. You know what? This is pissing me off. I'm getting some thumbtacks. Probably going to fuck the wall up. You know what? At this point, can't do this, baby. Looking for some thumbtacks. Chris, where are the fucking thumbtacks? Gonna keep using this shitty ass tape. But yeah, Ryan Blaney is on the dead to Dale list. No question about it. But I still like betting on him because he's always fast. And one day he will pull through. I just wonder how many times you people have seen me walk up and put some more fucking tape on these guys. Who's going to fall next? Any wagers for the next driver's face to fall? Take your pick. All right, next. I talked about this guy earlier briefly. I think he's going to be a good pick this weekend, potentially. But right now, he is dead to me until he wins me money. Justin Allgire, minus 6.09 units on the year. And Justin Allgire is one of these guys that has killed me over the past 2 years. Not just this year, Justin Allgire has fucked me repeatedly. It's not going to happen this weekend. He's going to have a good run. Now, this right here, this guy is known for the heartbreak of the year. I don't think anything will be more heartbreaking than this guy. Anybody that follows all my picks, Eric Jones, super dead to me, -7 units in the season. You're dead to Dale because of Talladega. Also, I put a max bet on him to transfer from the Open, the All-Star Open, and he couldn't even do that. Couldn't even transfer from the Open. So Eric Jones, welcome to the list. You were dead to me. All right. And unfortunately, I hate to do it with this guy. This one is just on me because this guy's been awesome this year. But I have just missed the mark. I've missed the mark on this driver you're about to see. He's made other people a lot of money. Ross Chastain, -7.9 units. I'm sure that shocks a lot of people, but he is dead to me at this moment. Even though he's fast every single week, I just always bet on him at the worst possible times. Not going to happen anymore. Not going to happen anymore. So, the final, other than Sports God of the Week, the Dale 401k Theft Champions. I hate these guys more than anybody right now. These guys have drained me. Not from just 2022, but from 2021 and potentially 2020. Please retire. Just retire. Please. You're going to retire? Retire. Martin Truex Jr., congratulations. You have made the elite list of being a 401k thief. Not much else to say about that. This guy, another guy. So the unit count you're going to see here is not the worst. It's not the most negative. But like Truex, he has burned me since 2021, 2020. Matt Crafton. They are the same. Matt Crafton and Martin Truex Jr. are the same. They're the same person. No one has lost me more money in the NASCAR Truck Series than Matt Crafton. Fun fact. Welcome to the elite club of stealing all of my money, Matt Crafton, you old bastard, you. Just like Truex. You're very old. You're elderly. And I hate to do it to this guy. I really do. And I can say very confidently, everybody wins after they have a baby. Everybody wins after they have a baby. Chase Briscoe, Kyle Busch, John Hunter Nemechek, all won within a certain amount of time of having a baby. I think Nemechek won the week after. But one of my good friends, and he knows it hasn't been a great year. Talked about him earlier. He is truck god the first, but it has been a rough season. Nobody has lost me more money this season on any NASCAR bets, any driver, than Sheldon Creed. -10 units on the season. Just had a lot of bad luck. But I can't be biased. I have to still recognize when people steal my money, and Sheldon Creed. Welcome to the list of thievery of my 401k. Oh, I got one more. So this guy hasn't really lost me a lot of money, but I just really hate him. And garage fam that know me, you understand. This fucking guy, Austin Cindric. We all know how I feel about all Austin Cindric. So I'm just going to put him here under Dead to Dale. Hashtag please retire. Hashtag I hate you. Get it trending on Twitter. I'll do this. Austin Cindric, I hate you. Permanently on the Dead to Dale list. All these other guys, they can get out of this. They can get out of it. Austin Cindric, doesn't matter how much money he makes me, he's permanently dead. So, congratulations. Oh, forgot. The most important draft pick. Congratulations to the inaugural Sports God of the Week. This man has earned it.
There's no other person who is doing more athletic exercises. His athletic capabilities are unmatchable. Congratulations to the inaugural Sports God of the Week. Get a screenshot. BJ McLeod. BJ McLeod, congratulations. This is an elite list. You're the only person on the list, actually. The Dale Center Sports God of the Week, BJ McLeod. Like I said, don't ask me about the criteria. It has nothing to do with betting. BJ McLeod, Sports God of the Week. Now, that took up a good 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. I don't have anybody keeping tabs on how long that took. Do I? Because that's not what you're here for at the end of the day. You are here for the bets. You're here for the top plays. So, that's the board. Congratulations. Welcome to the Wall of Dale. The Wall of Dale is complete. I will redraft this board every week. I'm going to get quicker with it, too. We're going to get quicker with it. It's not going to take that long. But you're going to have to just suck it up for now. So, let's get to the picks. I don't have a drum roll sound. You guys can just do a fucking drum roll at home. Welcome to the Dale Center Top 5 Plays. This is why you're here. It's all going to be NASCAR. I'm going to squeeze SRX in at the end and ask you guys some questions too. Let you guys chime in on what you think about the Superstar Racing Experience Series. Because quite frankly, I'm disappointed they haven't brought odds up anywhere besides Caesars Sportsbook. I don't know why that is. Last week they brought them up on DraftKings like an hour before green flag. It was ridiculous. So I don't know what's going on there, but odds are on SRX. Helio Castroneves' favorite. He's not going to win. I'll go ahead and tell you that. He's not going to win back-to-back races. So Dale Center, top 5. I know you're expecting top 10. We can't do that pre-qualifying. We cannot do 10 picks pre-qualifying. It's insane. With the Twitter feed back out. What are we doing? All right. Dale Center top 5 plays. So number 5. Let's get to number 5 here. The first play, and bear with me here because I think this is worthy to put 2 guys here because the odds are favorable. If you put a unit on both of them and one of them wins, you're going to win a shit ton of money. So, no, that's not it. Dale Center top play number 5. KFB and Chastain outright via Barstool Sportsbook. This is the best value I've seen. Just saw a comment from Panda. SRX is currently up on DraftKings. When I started the show at right at 10 a.m., the lines were not up. So that's crazy. We'll have to look at those here to end the show. But top 5 play, and as I said earlier, 2021 and years prior to 2022 are not the best source of data to look at. I wouldn't even say Nashville 2021 Cup Series is the best source of data to look at. The best source of data to look at to predict winners in 2022 is races in 2022. For example, Ross Chastain has been fast every year in 2022. It hasn't mattered what racetrack we've been at. He has been fast at every single style, every configuration. Just a very diverse racing program Trackhouse has right now with both drivers. So Ross Chastain is just a no-brainer for me at plus 850. They don't qualify super well. They don't typically qualify as well as Daniel Suarez does. So keep an eye on that price. If it moves a little bit, it could move in your favor. Let's say 13th in practice, right? 13th in practice, 7th in 10-lap averages, qualifies 14th. Maybe that line moves to plus 1,000 or plus 1,200. We'll see. So Ross Chastain's just been fast everywhere. The stats are just simple on that one. He's got 2 wins in the season, 7 top 5s, 7 top 10s, whatever. I mean, he's just been ridiculous. I'm looking at the fucking wrong stat right here. Sorry, I'm very sweaty from that from the Wall of Dale draft board. Nonetheless, if you just look at everything, one thing about Chastain that intrigues me is we didn't really get to see his full capability at Gateway. I mean, I was at that race and I watched him get blocked and held up by Denny Hamlin and Chase Elliott for a combined like 8 laps. And he didn't get wrecked, and I think he finished 7th or 8th in that race. So at Gateway, we didn't even see the full capability. Sonoma spins out, still comes back and finishes 7th. Look at Darlington, probably had the best car in Darlington, but wrecked himself on a restart, pushing the limit too far. Had a top 5 car at Dover, led the most laps in Charlotte, the Coke 600. Probably should have won that race. I'm not a coulda, shoulda, woulda guy, but Ross Chastain has been excellent everywhere. It's just a no-brainer for me. I just cannot. I know he's sitting over here. Ross, you can make this right. You can make this right, Ross Chastain. You can make this right. We can get rid of all 7.9 units in the red just from this weekend. I'm big on Ross Chastain this weekend. And moving to Kyle Busch, just to go quickly, 6 top 10s in his last 8, 3 top 5s in his last 4, 242 laps led in his last 6. If you exclude what happened at Sonoma, he's been on an absolute tear. He's been a top 5, top 3 car and contender week in and week out. Kyle Busch at plus 800, I think, is a bargain. So I'm going to combine those two. Put a unit on both, put a half unit on both. If one of them wins, come back next week and thank you. Moving on. Number 4. Showed this one earlier for a brief second. Let's go Justin Allgire. This is probably a bad idea that I've already picked 2 guys on the dead to me list. But he's just been so good this year. Justin Allgaier has been ridiculous. He's got 4 top 5s in his last 5 races, 279 laps led in his last 5. You look at Texas, you look at Charlotte, he had problems. I think he had tires go down at both of those tracks, maybe spun out at one of them. Still came back and got top 10s, top 5s in both of those races. When you look at these intermediate style racetracks, him and Josh Berry have been untouchable. They have been virtually untouchable. They've been the class of the field week in and week out. I'm expecting the heartbreak. I know Justin is plus 500, plus 550 on most sports books. So I'm going to compromise here and expect the heartbreak of not winning. And let's say he finishes 2nd, finishes 3rd, gives up the lead on a late race restart. You get the top 3 at plus 170. Put a unit and a half on that. I think that will hit. Justin Allgaier for a top 3 via Barstool Sportsbook. For comparison, DraftKings has it at plus 130. Barstool Sportsbook typically has the best value on top 3s, top 5s. So I'm going to roll with Justin Allgaier. Junior Motorsports has been blazing hot, especially at these intermediate style racetracks. You know, people talk about Nashville being like a short track kind of deal. These guys are going to be hitting like 180 miles per hour going into turn 1. I hope everybody realizes that. This track is quite the hybrid. So it's not just like a typical flat short track. Like it's a mix because you have heavy braking. Braking's going to be an issue in Cup and Xfinity. We had a lot of brake failures in Cup last year. I don't expect it to be as bad, but when you look at Justin Allgaier, ran 2nd here to Kyle Busch last year, had the only car that can compete with Kyle Busch. And I like to look at Texas last year, had the 2nd best car to Kyle Busch. Texas this year was very, very strong. This stretch of the season has been really good at Justin Allgaier. He's on a tear right now. So give me Allgaier as my 4th favorite play at plus 170 for a top 3 finish. Moving on. Joey Logano over Martin Truex Jr. I've seen this on DraftKings. I've seen it on Barstool. It's basically the same value everywhere. So Joey Logano, talking about these flatter racetracks, Logano has been unbelievably better. I'm going to read a list of racetracks that are not 1.5-mile racetracks and compare the results between Logano and Truex. So, Clash. Logano was first. Truex, I don't even think he played. Yeah, I think he made the show due to a provisional or something. He was a non-factor. He basically finished last, like 16th. Phoenix, Logano finished 8th. Truex 35th. Richmond 17th. Logano, Truex finished 4th. Flawed data here because Logano had a top 3 run going before a late race pit stop derailed his day. So Logano probably would have run top 3, top 5 in that one. That's the one anomaly here. Martinsville, Logano finished 2nd, Truex 22nd. Darlington, Logano finished 1st, Truex 24th. Dover was, I'd say that was the only anomaly, but Dover was a struggle for Joey Logano. He finished 29th. This race is not going to be anything like Dover. I know it's a concrete surface. I don't think it's going to translate a whole lot. Totally different racetrack. Logano finished 29th there, Truex 12th. Gateway, Logano won, Truex finished 6th. The data here is just so much in favor of Joey Logano. It's not even close. I think momentum is a factor. I think if you compare the summer stretch of Truex and Logano over the past 2 seasons, Logano has been better. And if you look at this data from 2022 with this car, the momentum is soaring for Logano, and it's going in the opposite direction for Martin Truex Jr. I'll take that matchup on the board at minus 120 as my third favorite play. So, moving on here. I think this one might surprise some people, but there's some good validation for it. Dale Center, top play number 2. Christian Eckes for a top 3 at plus 300. Christian Eckes is one of these guys that is knocking on the door. He's already won. He won his first career race at Vegas last fall, and he's been so close all year long to winning. Now that he's full-time once again in that number 98 for ThorSport Racing, he's been so good. He's been so good at the intermediate style racetracks. Like I said, Nashville's not just some kind of little flat short track. I think you can definitely use some data from those tracks, as I do for Joey Logano. But when you look at last year, DGR was really, really good here. The next best car, or truck, I should say, besides DGR and front row, which were the Fords, was Grant Enfinger in the number 98. When you look at the intermediates, it seems like in the truck series from data that some of the mile and a halves, you see a lot of the same front runners as you did at Nashville last year. So I really like Zane Smith. I really like Christian Eckes. I think he's going to be undervalued for a top 3. I'm probably going to bet the plus 1,000 as well. We'll see. I'm thinking about waiting for qualifying, though, because I could see them not qualifying well, and maybe that shifts a little bit more towards 1,200, 1,300. So I'm going to wait on the outright, but I really like drivers that are knocking on the door, and no one's knocking on the door. Well, Carson Osebar is, but besides Carson Osebar, Christian Eckes, I think for a top 3 plus 300 is good value. That is my second favorite play of the weekend. And for my number 1 play on the inaugural Dale Center greatest motorsports betting show in the universe, I think I'm going to disappoint some people because it's not like something crazy juicy when it comes to like an outright. But it's Ross Chastain. You're going to make this right, Ross. You're going to turn this 7.9 negative units into a major positive this weekend. Ross Chastain has been good everywhere. And for comparison, DraftKings Sportsbook has this line at plus 110. Barstool plus 140. Love the value there. I think you should be minus odds for top 5. The guy has been so fast everywhere. Also, let's consider Trackhouse, the narrative around, I think I did say this earlier, but the narrative around Nashville. This is a big Nashville energy racing team. Tootsie's is on the car for Daniel Suarez. I think the FGL sponsored Ross Chastain earlier, or was it the Luke Bryan bar or some shit like that, something that's on Broadway. But nonetheless, the Nashville energy is strong for Trackhouse Racing. I would put 3 units on this bet. And I might. Action Network, follow me, Dale Tanner on Action Network. You'll see the exact allocation I'm going to put on this bet because when this stream ends, I will lock this bet in for the Ally 400 on Sunday. Come back to me when most of these bets hit and you win a lot of money. I'll recap them one more time, and then we'll briefly talk SRX, and I'll try to answer some questions if anybody has any. So, Dale Center top plays. Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain to win. Kind of a combo thing here. Put a half unit on both of them. If one of them wins, you profit. Easy. Number 4, Justin Allgire, top 3 Barstool Sportsbook at plus 170. The guy's just been red hot. He's led so many laps. He's been so close to winning races. Aside from his win at Darlington a month and a half ago, give me Justin Allgaier for a top 3. Love the value there. Joey Logano over Martin Truex Jr. This is the only matchup that I would hammer right now. I love this matchup. Truex on a big downslide. Logano, momentum is off the fucking chart right now. I know, and I know some people are probably like, well, Sonobe didn't run well. Well, that was because that was planned. Paul Wolf was like, hey, Joey, let's get stage points. We don't have a car that can win. Let's see big picture here and get a lot more stage points for the championship run in the long haul. Had a good car at Sonoma. Don't get me wrong. They were fast. They just opted for a different strategy, which I did think was surprising, but I still think he would have had a good top 10, top 5 run potentially if they had played the long run game for that race. But they went with the points. Not worried about his Sonoma finish if you compare the two. Truex, Sliding down. Retire. Please retire. 401k fee champion, Martin Truex Jr. Fade him. He's going to be terrible this weekend. Number 2, Christian Eckes, top 3, plus 300 Barstool Sportsbook. I think on DraftKings the value is not as good at plus 250, but I love drivers that are knocking on the door. Christian Eckes perfectly embodies that kind of momentum right now, knocking on the door for his second career win, first win of the year. Christian Eckes, top 3 plus 300. Love that play. And as an extra honorable mention, plus 1,000 to win. Not a bad idea right now. But number 1 play, Ross Chastain, top 5 at plus 140. Just too much good juju around Chastain. He's had 2 bad luck races in a row and still gotten top 10. I mean, he's avoided being wrecked like 6 times, and he's still doing it right now. So I got to go with Ross Chastain. Speed in the race car, the talent in the driver, and the momentum of the team, Trackhouse Racing, is undeniable. That is my top play. That is the Dale Center top 5 plays of the weekend. Now, I'm going to pull up some odds real quick on SRX. Anybody have any input they'd like to give on SRX? Anything that sticks out? Reply in the comments. I got Twitter loaded right here. I got YouTube loaded right there. Let's see. Somebody came and said, who said that? Trying to see who said that. Somebody said in the chat. Oh, Armored Panda on Twitter said SRX on DraftKings. And I don't see it. Maybe I have to log in. Maybe it depends on the state, but I don't see SRX on what I'm looking at. I'm not logged in right now out of Louisiana. Not seeing it. So let's go to Caesars. Caesars is the only book that I've seen that has it. I don't know what you guys think about who's going to win. I'm not a fan of the odds, I will say. I'm not a fan of the odds that I've seen so far, but we're going to talk about it. Holy shit, this is going on for an hour and 8 minutes. Not bad. Hope everybody's enjoyed it. Hope everybody's enjoyed the insight. I did work really hard on this. The one part I didn't work hard on was the fucking scotch tape. We're going to have a different system starting next week. So I know Elio Castroneves was a favorite at plus 240, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Let's see. I never get on Caesars. Boom, boom. So you can't look at the sports book unless you are on there. Okay, you know what? Fuck that. I'm doing it on my phone. Sorry, Twitter. Caesars Sportsbook. All right, Elio Castroneves plus 240. That's ridiculous. No, he's not going to win again. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. Tony Stewart plus 250 is tempting because of his success last year. He did win the SRX championship in 2021, the season opener. You got Greg Biffle plus 500, Marco Andretti plus 600, Ernie Francis Jr. plus 700, Tony Kanaan plus 800. Peyton Sellers. This guy right here, I'll go ahead and tell you, is going to be a pick for me. Peyton Sellers at plus 1,000. This guy at South Boston has won like 6 track championships. This guy has been excellent at South Boston. He knows how to get around. If you watched the race last weekend, Bubba Pollard really should have won that race. Bubba Pollard finished second, flew through the field in a car he's never driven before, but he has the experience at Five Flags Raceway. Really, really boded well for him. I wish I could have bet like a top 3 or something, but I don't even know if they even offered it. But Peyton Sellers, I can see the same thing happening here. These guys get a lot of practice time. The heats, you don't have to do well in both heats either. We saw that with Elio. Elio finished 12th in the first heat and then won the second heat through the inversion, and then he goes on to win the race. So even heat number 1 can be another practice session if you're worried about the experience. But I like Peyton Sellers at plus 1,000. Ryan Newman, plus 1,200. This guy's hungry. He finished 3rd at Five Flags last weekend. Really held up Bubba Pollard, which of fucking course what Ryan Newman does, right? He holds everybody up. He's the hardest guy to pass ever. I like Ryan Newman at plus 1,200. That is crazy value for a guy that just ran top 3 and ran at the front mid-pack throughout a lot of that race. So if I had to give 3 SRX picks right now, I'd probably go Ernie Francis Jr. He's got the youth. He's got the experience in race cars that are similar to this one, and he's a former winner in the SRX last season. I go Ernie Francis Jr. plus 700, Peyton Sellers at plus 1,000, and Ryan Newman at plus 1,200. I know I'm skipping out on the favorites. Tony Stewart might win, but I'll go ahead and guarantee. This is a Dale Center guarantee that Elio Castroneves will not win back-to-back races. Plus 240 is crazy. What are we doing? That was his first ever SRX win. Plus 240 is ridiculous. Cannot bet that. It's not going to happen. So, Ernie Francis Jr., Peyton Sellers, and Ryan Newman are my 3 SRX picks that I would give right now at this moment. It just sucks because we don't have – I know Armored Panda was telling me we got odds, but they're not up for me. They're not up for me on DraftKings. Oh, well. They are on Caesars Sports if you have access to that. Maybe it's a state-by-state deal, and I just haven't gotten them yet. So, ladies and gentlemen, that has been the first episode, the inaugural episode of Dale Center. So happy that I was able to bring this back. Everybody remembers this used to be like a skit that I would do, and I do want to start doing those again, but I did want to turn it into a betting show, a solo betting show. But when we started going to more races and it just picked up on that front, this just all got put in the back seat. It is back. This will be a weekly thing. I'm trying to decide if this will be Wednesdays or Thursdays. If you have a preference, feel free to let me know. Either day probably could work. It's going to depend on our traveling when we go to the races, though. So I'm leaning towards Wednesday starting next week, but this will be a weekly show. I'm going to try to keep it under an hour and 15 minutes. I can't believe we went that far. Got to get some better tape for the board. But remember, this is the inaugural Wall of Dale. All my guys. Sports Guy of the Week, BJ McLeod. Shout out to that as well. And shout out to everybody who's watched the stream via YouTube or Twitter. Andrew, thank you. Appreciate you. Darian, what's up? You came in at the latest time ever. What's going on? You missed all the bets, Darian. But if you came in late, like Darian did, still watch this. It will be recorded. You can come back on YouTube and watch it. You can come back on my Twitter and watch it. Hell of a show. A lot of material and a lot of picks. So when you win a lot of money from what I just told you and what we will tell you on the Garage Guys preview show that will drop tomorrow evening, you come back and see me. Dale Tanhart, the greatest NASCAR bettor in the universe. I appreciate you all, and I will see you next week. Good luck this weekend. Let's back.